I made a video just earlier before this, and it's called "Don't Do Bodybuilding." And I just want to add a couple points that I forgot to add because I think it's an important discussion for this generation, at least. The points that I want to add, because we spoke about why bodybuilding isn't really the solution to the reason as to why a lot of us work out. A lot of us go into the gym expecting it to boost our social life, boost our dating life, boost our mindset, etc. And as much as that can be true or seems like it could be true, right? And it's really something that it is attached a lot to our instincts about how society works and our own the rules of social life work. In actuality, it doesn't have the effects that you think it does every time. Why do I say this? Is to say that this is a big point that we didn't add. We spoke about how the reason that there's a flaw into that approach is that people approach you with a high level, at a high standard, a high level, and then are faced with your actual flaws, which will make you who you are, right? And so now there's a fall, and they feel deceived, and it's hard for people to get over that. Whereas if people approach you feeling comfortable and not having that crazy image in mind, they just have a normal image, and from there they're able to get to understand who you are and see how great of a person you are. And so even though at the end they end at the same level, which is who you are, that it depends, how did you get here? This is what matters. This is what the message is. If you go from normal to see how great you are, then people feel thrilled to be like, oh, this person is so much better than I thought. And this happens because we put so much emphasis and hope into our physique or fitness when approaching bodybuilding this way, and it ends up hurting us in the back end. What we need also to realize is that I've experienced this too, but it's a lot of people have experienced this. But it's the idea of sort of body dysmorphia, is that you at first started working out, right? And I've seen this for other people too. It's not just one or two cases. It's you started working out and your social life was at a certain level, right? Your how you felt about you was at a certain level, but you were wearing normal stuff, right? You were wearing normal t-shirts, normal pants. You weren't wearing anything too tight, too big, whatever. It was normal when you were younger or whatever. But then you can see it everywhere, is that you will start working out, you will start building your physique, and now you've progressed from where you are, but now you're even more self-conscious about you. And that's crazy, because it's like, I thought we started this in order to progress, but here we are, we've progressed, but we've progressed on one front, which is the physique. We got a bit more weight, or we lost more weight, whatever, but now we start being more conscious about how we look. We care more about what we wear, and we're like, this can make me look bad, and this can make me look this way. But all these things didn't matter before. You never, at least for me, I never bought a t-shirt before because I was like, this is gonna make me it's gonna be too tight and I'm gonna look skinny or something, or this is gonna be too big and I'm gonna look skinny, whatever, that thought didn't happen. It was more like, I just want an adequate size with a nice logo or something, And where this is interesting is that this is where the trend of wearing oversized shirts comes in. Is that, there was a phase when oversized shirts was a trend, 2000s, and then there was the fear of God wave and all that stuff. But now you see all these people working out in oversized t-shirts, and me too. And it's sort of like to hide the physique that you have, And then most of us, what we do is like we wait until we get a pump or something, and there's a pump cover, and you take it off. But see, you didn't used to do that before. We didn't used to do that, but now that we've progressed to this level, we're even more conscious about how we're going to look to people than we were before. And in that sense, bodybuilding is some sort of a scam. You know? I'm not gonna say it's a scam because, like, you know, it's I'm joking. Like, it's something that, you know, it's a reputable thing where a lot of people make a lot of money, and it's a great industry. But on the front of trying to develop your confidence, and if you use it in a way to develop some character flaws that you have, it doesn't work. It will not allow you to feel better in your skin all the time because of how much work you've put into your physique now. It actually ends up biting you back, and now something that you didn't used to work on, you do, and now you're like, oh man, like now it matters, and you want it to matter. You want it to look good to people. You want it to. Now you compare yourself to other people who work out. You didn't used to do that, like, you know. But now that you're in this race, you're running with the other runners, and it's something just to be aware of, right? Now that we've demonstrated the problem, it's that, okay, is to understand, is to ask yourself this question as to why are we doing this? Is it really for the sole purpose of, you know, the discipline itself of bodybuilding? Is it to boost our social life one way or another? Is it for, you know, trying to, for what reason? And then is it the best way, right? For this angle, it's not really the best way. Because of the way in which we do it and the results that we have. And so what would actually build confidence within ourselves is to actually go into a discipline that require you to apply yourself as far as skills. Something that is not as simple and not as fundamental as picking up a weight and putting it back. As much as there is, you know, a lot of effort and work put into that, but when it comes to developing a confidence, you need to be able to, is the feeling of being able to rely on yourself, right? Because lifting something, putting it back down, like a bench press, for example, doesn't require as many skills as for example, going into playing soccer, where you need to develop agility and you take risk, and there's risk management and stuff like that. You could say that powerlifting, for example, has a certain level of risk management and etc. But let's just say it doesn't work for everybody. For a lot of us, let's say the simplest way to build confidence, would be first to approach things in the right way, to approach for example, the activities that we do in a way that will truly give us the results and not end up biting us back, like the examples that we gave earlier. So to be true to ourselves about what we do. And then it's to actually choose those activities to be somewhere where we can apply our skills and demonstrate to ourselves that we're able to progress with that application. And so when it comes to bodybuilding, if you still want to use it and use the gym for this purpose, well, for one is to be aware of it, right? But then it would be to be able to approach the weightlifting in a way that, which is going to be more of a mental battle than a physical or on hands battle. it would be more an idea to be able to overcome the thoughts that you have that are negative, and to be able to create clarity in life. That's what that's where I find a solution in my life, is that I put the number of reps higher, I put the amount of rest periods lower, and by doing that, it's kind of like running, but the intensity is really strong, and it's like a plane taking off. It's short, it's super intense, and it's all in, and it's take off. It's not something which is like, okay, I'm gonna go 50% for 5 sets. It's I go 100% for shorter amount of sets, like 3, 2, whatever. But there's a warm-up period or whatever, but it's intense, and that intensity is necessary for it to create the traction, like the plane, to be able to take off. And the point is to be able to walk out of the gym with a certain clarity. The application that we spoke about earlier is an application within the mind of ourselves, of within what we're doing. And that perspective is important because perspective drives performance. And so we can't just go into the gym and do whatever, but you have to intentionally do it with that point. And that's a huge difference from bodybuilding for what it is in itself. Here we're talking more about a sort of weightlifting thing, right? Another thing that I would add is to find movements and find exercises that allow us to get stronger. That feeling of strength requires us to overcome limits, which is like the same thing that I just talked about with overcoming the negative thoughts. When you get close to a limit, you will find yourself having doubts, and to overcome those would have the same effect. And so strength, right, I've noticed is within, I've been able to find that mainly when doing exercises that had more than one joint in action. For example, bench press has the elbows only, right? But let's say an exercise like I don't know, let's say rows, right, where you have barbell rows where your knees are bent, right, and you're rowing. Well, in there you have the knees, the arms, hips involved, and so I can consider that as 3. People could say it's kind of like you cheat your reps, but it's to bring multiple joints involved. And when you are able to bring more than one joint into the movement, it has this sort of immersive effect, which will allow you to, from my experience, create more strength and create more confidence within yourself. And so here are the 3 points I wanted to touch on about bodybuilding, and how, if you want to get results which are within, how it's important to switch the approach. I hope this was valuable. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment. See you next time.